What if I told you that more than 300 years ago, on this island we now call Sri Lanka, then known as Ceylon, there lived a Dutch governor whose name still lingers in whispers, whose legacy refuses to fade, and whose crimes are so horrifying that even history itself seems reluctant to speak them out loud? And what if I told you that this man, a representative of one of the most powerful trading companies in the world, is remembered not only as a tyrant but as something far darker? A man rumored to be a cannibal. A governor who, according to a chilling legend, consumed human flesh prepared by his own cook. These humans he devoured were mostly natives abducted in the night, never to return home. And what if I told you that even today, a road in Colombo still bears his name, and a hill on which his villa was located still stands as a silent witness to his atrocities well into the 21st century. Today we journey into the life, crimes, madness and lingering hauntings surrounding the 20th Dutch governor of Ceylon, Petrus Wist, who was eventually arrested, tried by his own people for judicial murder, found guilty and executed in a gruesome spectacle, bound to a burning iron chair, reduced to ashes and cast into the sea. This is not folklore, this is history written in blood. Before the terror, before the bloodshed, before the screams that would echo through fort walls and jungle paths, Petrus Wist was simply a man born in Alkmaar in the Netherlands. He was the son of Hendrik Wist and Maria de Nijs, and like many men of privilege in his time, he was educated, polished and ambitious. In 1711, he enrolled as a student at Leiden, one of Europe's most respected centers of learning. To the outside world, there was nothing remarkable about him then. In 1714, in the town of Haarlem, he married Barbara Wilhelmina Gerlings, a local woman whose family connections would later prove decisive in his rise to power. The couple lived in Leiden and had one surviving daughter, living what appeared to be a conventional life untouched by scandal or cruelty. But destiny, it seems, had far darker plans. On the 16th of May 1716, the family boarded a ship ominously named the Herstal de l'Or, the Restored Lion, and sailed towards the Dutch East Indies, present-day Indonesia. Wist arrived in Batavia, now Jakarta, in 1717, where he worked as a fiscal lawyer, quickly establishing himself within the Dutch colonial administration. By 1720, he had become a member of the Extraordinary Council of the Dutch East Indies. His ascent continued rapidly. Between 1722 and 1724, he served as governor of Dutch Bengal, a position he owed largely to his wife's influential connections rather than any exceptional ability. Those same connections would soon place him in Ceylon, where in 1726 he became the governor. At first his rule seemed promising. He strengthened colonial defences, raising the ramparts surrounding Galle Fort and constructing the Aeolus, Klippenberg, Neptune and Triton bastions. Even today, the imposing outward appearance of Galle Fort owes much to Wist's early administrative efforts. In Colombo, he built Alut Mawata Road, literally meaning New Avenue Road, stretching from Petta to Mattakulia, one of the longest roads in the colonial capital. On the surface, Wist appeared to be a capable governor, a builder, a man shaping the colony's future. But beneath this facade, something deeply disturbing was already taking root. At the northern end of Alut Mawata Road, the land rises gently to a hillock known as Ratsa Moona Kanda, meaning Demon Face Hill. At its base lies Wistwijk Road, a name derived from Wistwijk, meaning Wist's village or quarter. Today it is a cluttered neighborhood filled with shops, houses, warehouses and factories, but centuries ago this area was feared. Ratha Moonakanda earned its sinister name from a legend that a demon once lived there, a creature that devoured the flesh of passers-by. Yet over 100 years ago, illustrator and writer Johan Leonard Kallenberg van Dort recorded a far more unsettling version of the story. He wrote that villagers traveling along a bypath behind Wistwijk often disappeared after dusk. The question that haunted the locals for centuries was simple, yet terrifying. What had happened to those who went missing? Well, legend offers a chilling answer. It is said that Governor Petrus Vist employed a Malay cook and that this cook lay in wait near the hillock, ambushing villagers as they passed. These unfortunate souls, according to the whispers passed down through generations, were killed and cooked for the governor's gastronomic pleasure. Cannibalism at the heart of colonial power. Whether truth or legend, the story gripped the imagination of the people for centuries. Locals reported strange occurrences near the well and bathing pool of Vist's former property, a palatial villa located atop Zimmermann A. Groans, sighs, and inexplicable sounds are said to emanate from the area at all hours, day and night. Van Dort himself visited the site twice and claimed to have heard the eerie noises, though he attempted to explain them away as environmental effects rather than something supernatural. But the people who lived there believed otherwise. The area was widely regarded as haunted until the 1960s, and even today, some say the silence around Zimmermann A feels unnatural, as though the earth itself is holding its breath. As time passed, Vist's true nature became impossible to ignore. He was notoriously cruel and disastrously inept, suffering from what modern historians believe was a severe paranoid personality disorder. Upon arriving in Ceylon, he reportedly placed a patch over his right eye and declared that one eye was more than enough to govern such a small country. With chilling arrogance, he announced that he intended to rule with the wisdom of Solomon and the boldness of a Vist. Instead, he ruled through fear, suspicion, and bloodshed. Convinced that traitors surrounded him and that the island was on the verge of being surrendered to the Portuguese, Petrus Vist began arresting officials on false or fabricated charges. He established what became known as the Blood Council, officially a court-martial composed not of trained legal minds but of masons, smiths, and other individuals utterly unqualified to administer justice. This council became an instrument of terror, conducting trials, tortures, and executions with alarming ease. Among the most horrifying victims of the Blood Council was Lieutenant Andreas Swartz of the Dutch United East India Company, VOC. On the 12th of March 1729, Swartz was subjected to a nightmarish execution. He was tortured, disemboweled, his heart cut out, and smashed against his face. His throat slit, and his body finally quartered. On that very same day, another lieutenant, Benjamin Begolotti, a Burgher Eurasian based in Jaffna, was beheaded and quartered. As if death were not enough, the Blood Council later ordered the demolition of Swartz's residence in Fort and Pegolotti's home in Petta, erasing even the physical traces of their lives. He also had a monument built to shame Andreas Swartz. In total, Vist executed 19 people, exiled many more, and plunged the colony into an atmosphere of paranoia and terror. His madness may have been fueled by an earlier event he witnessed in Batavia in 1722, the brutal execution of Urberfeld, a Eurasian nationalist rebel accused of plotting to overthrow Dutch rule. Urberfeld was tortured, disemboweled, beheaded, and quartered, his house destroyed, and a monument erected to shame him. Vist appears to have taken this as a precedent, repeating the same horrors in Ceylon with chilling enthusiasm. Eventually, the cruelty became impossible to hide. In August 1729, a petition detailing Vist's atrocities in Ceylon reached the Extraordinary Council of the East Indies in Batavia. He was dismissed from office and summoned to face judgment. The verdict was swift and damning. Vist was found guilty of judicial murders and other serious crimes, and in a grim twist of fate, the sentence handed down to him mirrored the punishments he himself had ordered in Ceylon. On the 19th of May 1732, Petrus Vist was executed while bound to a burning iron chair, an instrument of torture favored by Europeans of the era. He reportedly faced his death without fear. His body parts were burned and his ashes were thrown into the sea as though the world itself sought to erase him completely. Stephanus Verslois replaced him as governor of Ceylon, while his widow and daughter returned to the Netherlands in 1733, leaving behind a colony scarred by terror. Yet Petrus Vist never truly left. His name remains etched into Colombo's geography. His legends linger in whispered stories, and the hillock where he once lived still stands silent and watchful. So the next time you pass through Alutmavata Road or near the shadow of Ratha, Moon or Kanda, ask yourself whether the groans truly stopped or whether we simply stopped listening. And if you have enjoyed this story, please like, comment, share and of course subscribe. Check the description box below for image credits, sources and recommended readings. And do explore the writings of Mr. Vinod Munasinghe, an economic journalist, to learn more about the horrors of Governor Petru's West. For feedback or inquiries, feel free to reach out at tuanzamirwrites@gmail.com. Until next time, this is me, Zamir Karim, signing off. Uncovering history, one story at a time. Take care and God bless you all.